Hi, my name is Kara Mackler, and I'm the manager of Campus Education and Outreach and Human Trafficking Specialist at the Women's Center of Greater Danbury. Today, I want to talk to parents about how to continue to keep your kids safe online during this pandemic, and specifically talking about human trafficking. I recognize that parents are having a lot of new and difficult conversations with their kids due to COVID-19, and human trafficking probably isn't one of them. But I want to take some time today to talk about why it's so important to talk about this with your kids, especially now. Before I get started, I want to just quickly define human trafficking. So, human trafficking involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. Minors or anyone under the age of 18 who are induced to engage in any type of labor or commercial sex act are automatically viewed as victims of human trafficking, regardless of proof of force, fraud, or coercion. Now, force can look like physical violence, threats of violence, or sexual violence. Fraud can mean false promises of a job or an offer. And coercion can look like someone pretending to form a relationship with someone who then manipulates them into doing something that they don't want to do. Commercial sex acts can be defined as sexting, so sending photos that are sexually explicit, or it could be pornography, stripping, or actual sex acts. Now, the reason we want to talk about this now during a pandemic is because traffickers often target youth online. They know what apps they're using, they know how to connect with them, and we understand that youth are using social media, video games, and other online platforms now more than ever because of being home and quarantined and self-isolating. And kids are often scared about what's happening or have anxieties about what's going on with the pandemic, and traffickers are going to prey on those vulnerabilities now, especially online, to connect with youth. So we want to make sure that we can educate parents and educate kids on what to look out for, because traffickers will look for the things they can take advantage of to trap them and trick them into trafficking. So some tips that we have for parents on how to continue to talk to your kids about staying safe online is first is talking about how to use social media and online platforms safely. So set the tone to be open and non-judgmental and comfortable. You can say something like, "Hey, I'd love to sit down with you and talk about how to stay safe online during these times." And even say something like, "I'm sure you're already doing a lot. To protect yourself and your privacy, I just want you to know that you can talk to me about anything going on if someone's making you uncomfortable or feel unsafe online." You can remind them to check their privacy settings or even look at their privacy settings with them, because a lot of people, or kids especially, don't understand what their privacy settings even look like. Remind them to not accept friend requests from people that they don't know, and especially not to share personal or private information with anyone online or in their bio or profile. So that can include their birthday or what school they go to, what year they're graduating, etc. Next, we suggest keeping that communication open even after that initial conversation. So ask your kids who they're talking to online, who they're playing their games with, if they've ever gotten a message from someone that they've never met in real life. If they say yes to that question, don't be too alarmed. Many kids are talking to people on video games that they've never met, but the conversations can stay safe if they're just mainly about the game itself. Where it becomes alarming is when that person is trying to engage in a conversation where they're trying to gain information about that kid, or they're trying to say inappropriate things or offensive things to make them uncomfortable. So talk to your kids about what that conversation can look like to stay safe, how to report, how to block people on a video game or social media platform. You can also ask what kind of content they're seeing. Know what apps they're using. You can either do a quick Google search to see what apps youth are using these days, or just ask them. Say, "Hey, are you on TikTok? Are you using Reddit? Do you use Instagram or House Party?" Knowing what apps they're using is essential to keep you in the know and to stay connected to them, but also to know what those privacy settings actually look like on those individual apps. And lastly, we suggest staying engaged. So other than keeping the lines of communication open, you can also try to involve yourself as much as you can and as comfortable as it may be for you and your child by either making a TikTok video with them, being on the apps that they're using, or learn to play a video game that they're playing and actually play it with them so that you're involved and see what they're up to without coming across as invasive or nosy, but staying engaged with them. So those are some tips that we have to continue to talk to your kids about staying safe online. We understand this information can be daunting and a little scary, but we also have a video that's geared towards kids about this exact topic. So feel free to share that with them if you want to use that to kind of start this conversation. If you have any questions or concerns or want to talk about anything that I talked about today with one of our counselors, you can reach any of our two 24/7 hotlines at any time, and you can reach those at 203-731-5204 or 5206. And as a reminder, the Women's Center serves people of all identities, and our services are free and confidential. So thank you for taking time today to learn about human trafficking prevention during this pandemic, and we hope that your family continues to stay healthy and safe.